Hello, I'm Nanette Nocon. In this edition of It's About Money, we'll be talking with Dwayne McCauley, who is the author of the book, Death to Diabetes. Stay tuned in this inspirational program. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nocon and thank you for joining us. In this edition of It's About Money, we'll be talking to Dwayne McCauley, who's the author of the book Death to Diabetes. The reason why we're talking about diabetes in our program is because of the financial impact on families and our nation. It costs about $250,000 for a family during a 20-year period to take care of diabetes. And typically diabetics have a 13-year less lifespan than normal life expectancy. In our nation, it costs about $135 billion annually to take care of the disease. So Dwayne, welcome to our show. I really appreciate having you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
So tell me first about the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes, because there's a significant difference. And
Exactly.
we're talking about type 2 today.
And see, type 1 and type 2, they are two entirely different diseases, as you just mentioned. And type 1 is more of an autoimmune disease where the beta cells within the pancreas that produces the insulin become dormant, or they're just not functioning properly, so they don't produce insulin. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, is more of a lifestyle-driven disease. And in that particular case, the pancreas is working. It is producing insulin. But the cells of the body, the 70 trillion cells in your body, they're not functioning properly, and they're not able to pull the glucose into your cells to produce energy. And because the cells can't pull in that glucose from your bloodstream, that's why your blood sugar starts to rise.
I see. Okay. So it's really something that can be controlled because it's not an autoimmune disease.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly. It's an entirely different disease. Exactly.
Now tell me about the events in 2002 that led to all of these. What happened to you in 2002?
Yeah. Well, I put on a little bit of weight, and I didn't think I put on that much weight, but maybe about 70 pounds or so. But I thought I carried it well. And my daughter had told me, "Dad, you're getting a little, you're a little on the heavy side." And I said, "No, I'm not." She goes, "Yes, you are." And I felt I was a little chunky. And I wasn't that heavy. And my daughter said, "Chunky? Dad, you passed chunky 25 pounds ago." And daughters are very honest with you. They'll tell you, And I wasn't playing any more sports, no more basketball, no more tennis. I was working long hours. And it just kind of creeps up on you. You're putting on the weight. And the next thing I knew, I woke up one morning and I couldn't move, or I had this real funny feeling. And luckily I called 911, and the next thing I know, I was in the hospital. And when I came out of the coma, and there were 3 doctors there saying, "Mr. McCauley, you're lucky to be alive, and you are a diabetic, and you'll be on insulin the rest of your life."
Your insulin level, blood glucose level was at 1200. Is that right?
Oh yeah, it was over 1200, 1300. I didn't even know what it meant, but I could tell by the looks on the doctors' faces that this is not good.
So 100 is about right.
Exactly, yeah. It should be somewhere around 100, exactly.
Yeah. And so technically you should have been dead.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, because not only, I had a special type of coma, by the way. I said, "Really special?" And they said, "Yeah, Dwayne, you had what is known as a non-ketotic hyperglycemic hyperosmolar coma." And when the doctor told me that, I said, "Wow, it does sound special." Long name. And I also had another condition known as hypertriglyceridemia. I had DVT, deep vein thrombosis, so I had some blood clot issues. And so when you combine all of these health issues, according to the Merck Medical Reference Manual, I should have died 3 times over.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. So now you had that condition. The option was either to be on oral pills, but it was so bad that you had to be on insulin.
Exactly. I did not want to go on insulin because I'm afraid of needles. I said, "Give me the pill." And the doctor said, "Sorry, Dwayne, but your disease has progressed to the point that insulin is the only thing that's going to help you.
Wow. And now tell me today, are you on any medications?
No, today, no medications, no nothing.
No insulin. Wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask that question right away because I want to go into the story of how could that be?
Right, exactly.
I mean, that seems to be so impossible.
Right.
Now, your sister and your daughter Cynthia played a very important role in this transformation.
Right. Yeah.
What did they do?
Well, between my sister, my daughter Cynthia, my mother, they all live out of town. They came to Rochester and they took over my house. And
the women run this world.
Right, yeah, that's what I began to find out. That I said, man, this is rough. I thought, you think diabetes is bad, but you got 3 women in your house telling you when to eat, what not to eat, when to exercise, when not to exercise. You talk about stress. But the irony, Nanette, is that because they were taking care of my household and they were taking care of the meals, and my mother put me on a raw food diet, I had all this extra time, and with all this extra time, I started to do some research into diabetes in terms of, well, why am I dying? Why do they want to cut off my legs? Why is my eyesight failing? And they just said, Dwayne, this is the way the disease is. This is the way it works. But as an engineer, see, we want to know more.
Yeah, right.
Can you tell me a little more? And of course, they kind of look at you and go, well, Dwayne, there really isn't any more that you need to know. You'll be on insulin the rest of your life, and you'll have to take blood thinners because of the blood clots, and you've got to take some cholesterol medication because your cholesterol's off the charts. But I was somewhat fortunate that because my mother made me eat vegetables. This is embarrassing. Here we're on television, I'm admitting this. My mother made me eat the vegetables. I did not expect that was going to do anything. And next thing I knew, my blood glucose level started to come down. It was still high, 300, 400, but it was coming down. And the doctors were amazed. They said, well, Dwayne, geez, but keep taking the insulin, though. And but it just kept coming down. And then when it got back down to 100, I asked the doctors, I said, well, should I keep taking the insulin? Yeah. And it didn't make sense to me as an engineer. Well, if I'm getting back to normal, why do I have to keep taking the shots? And my motivation was more about, I don't like sticking needles into me. And 4 shots a day is a little too much. And also I was pricking my finger to do the blood glucose testing 8 times a day. So that's a lot of needles, a lot of pricking. And but the irony is that this testing that I was doing 8 times a day, in most situations the doctors will tell you to test your blood sugar at least 3, 4, 5 times a day. But I'm an engineer, so I wanted to collect a lot of data. So I said, I'm going to do it 8 times a day. I didn't expect it was going to uncover anything. But I was able to correlate what was happening with my blood glucose readings, especially post-meal, with respect to the foods I was consuming. And it didn't take me that long to figure out that, yeah, certain foods, certain vegetables, certain plant oils seem to work better. Your body seems to metabolize them a lot better in the diabetic's body. And I just rode that horse. My mother made me eat Brussels sprouts every day, and I hate Brussels sprouts, man. Hate them. Oh, that's some,
most people don't like them.
Ugly little things, but I can't argue with success. And I kept eating them Brussels sprouts, and blood sugar kept going down. And so I'm very lucky, very blessed to have done that.
To have had the people in your life to be really attentive to come in and take care of you. I mean, they didn't have any scientific proof, but they knew that you've got to adjust to what your weight and your eating habits. And
I asked my mother, how did you know Brussels sprouts, broccoli, spinach? She goes, son, God told me. I says, well, Ma, I'm a scientist. I need a little bit more than that. And of course, people started asking me as well, my engineering friends. So I had to do the research and see, is there some scientific connection? And there is a scientific connection. There's a spiritual connection. There's an emotional connection that's tied into these foods. And the foods happen to contain specific nutrients that the body is missing.
I see.
And when you give the body those nutrients, the body is very intelligent, and it will repair
I see.
the cells.
I see.